Like,
Yeah.
let's just see it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
all right. And then you do it and they're like, oh yeah, you were right. It was good the first time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh man.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Jesse Nyberg Podcast. Today we're here with Aaron, talented designer that I've been kind of following for a little bit on Twitter and Instagram. Excited to finally meet him. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me. How are you doing?
Yeah, not bad. I mean, this week's pretty busy. I'm trying to kind of crank out some podcasts because I got a lot of projects coming up. So I'm recording like one today, one tomorrow, and one the next day. So by the third one, I'm probably going to be like pretty over it.
Yeah, I can imagine. I tried to do a podcast a few years ago. I recorded like 2 episodes. And just between editing the podcast, putting it all together, marketing and everything, I just couldn't handle it.
I know. It's like, to me, it's worth it. And like every time I get a little bit discouraged, like someone will say something like super nice and I'm like, damn it, I guess I got to keep it going, you know?
Yeah,
like there's some people that are fucking with it.
Yeah.
I think I remember that it was like a year ago or more, right? That you were doing that. Yeah. What you been kind of up to this whole week? Or I guess last week, perhaps.
Yeah. Well, last week, or just the end of the previous week, I got COVID.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Luckily enough, I didn't have any major side effects. It was pretty smooth. I'd say I had like 2 bad days. And I kind of just like parked everything. I didn't do any design work or anything. I just kind of chilled out and enjoyed Christmas with my family, played a bit of PlayStation. But ever since I've been out of isolation, I've kind of been like full steam ahead. I've been super motivated to try new things and put out new designs. I've been working on a kind of like a Kanye West series recently. Just kind of like a real kind of grungy kind of style. And I'm really enjoying that.
I was liking that. It looks pretty dope. I feel like you can kind of look through some of your work and I feel like it kind of has like, you can tell at certain points of time, like when you were messing with like different styles, you know, it kind of is in like chunks if you scroll through like your Instagram per se, you know? That's good though that you just took that full time off, because I feel like sometimes I get into the habit of like kind of like not doing a full like rest and recovery if I'm sick, and like I'm just kind of doing stuff and it just drags on the sickness for like weeks because I'm like not fully resting, you know.
You can completely burn yourself out. Like up until the start of December, I was actually working part-time as well, as a customer service agent. I won't name or shame the company. It's a big company that delivers stuff. But trying to like balance that with doing design work. I just found that I really burnt myself out. So I just quit that indefinitely. And I've just been doing commission kind of work.
That's good.
For the past few weeks. So yeah, that's kind of keeping me going.
That's funny because I don't know what it is, but something with like, you're from Ireland, right?
Yeah.
Is that where you're from? So something with like, I feel like a lot of people I've talked to in countries like in Europe and in that whole area is something very common with you guys having jobs at like call centers and like customer service, but like no one I know in the States has ever had any job that's like that. But everyone's always like, yeah, I was working at the call center, or I was taking calls, designing on the side. And it's been like 6 people that have said that, which is like
it's
super surprising.
I've always kind of been involved in some form of like customer service or hospitality. I worked as a barista for 6 years. I worked for like a games company for a year, doing customer service, and then the other company.
Like development, like a game studio?
It was more so taking like customer feedback
Okay.
And like
user testing and shit like that.
Basically, yeah. And it's funny that you say that, like, us people living in Europe all seem to like gravitate towards call centers. Like my best friends, they moved to Canada only, well, I suppose 3 years ago now. And the first job that they all picked up was customer service work in Canada. So I don't know what it is. We all seem to just gravitate towards it.
You guys are nice, maybe, or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
maybe.
More approachable. Because, that's cool, though, that you're, I guess, fully, like, committed now into your kind of commissions and craft. Is this the first time you've been, like, solely as, like, an artist or designer?
I tried it once before, about 3 years ago, when I wasn't as, let's say, established, if that's the word, as I am now.
Right.
I kind of just took the leap without any research, because I thought it'd be great, that jobs would come rolling in and stuff, and then I kind of slowly realized that that's not the reality. So kind of what I did before I left my last job was tied up all my commission work, and I'm kind of continuing to work with the people that have been commissioning me, like, all the way up. And I have stuff to keep me going for at least the next few weeks anyway. So it's both scary and exciting, because you kind of don't know what's around the corner, but like I'm at that stage now where I'm just super motivated to try and make it work,
Yeah. I feel like I don't like to recommend like people to do that when it doesn't feel like sustainable. However, I do also feel that if you never fully do that, you're always going to have this mindset like, well, I could just go back to like whatever, if you don't risk anything, you're probably not going to try as hard, So it's like, this was my first year freelancing full time, I think, since like March, I believe, or last year, 2021. And I mean, there's some times where I'm just like, all right, well, I guess that was that was the run, it's over now. No more clients. And then I'll get like some dope ass projects that'll like set me up for a few months. And I'm like, all right, cool. But I think that's just like, I talk to people that are way more, like established or whatever you want to call it than myself. And they have this same like idea around like money and scarcity. And I'm like, damn, I guess that shit just never goes away.
Yeah, man. It's crazy. Even I was brought on a project in like 2017, and it was like the biggest thing I ever worked on. It was for Tory Lanez. I worked with, I don't know if you know she's like a visual, she's not exactly a 3D artist, but she's like a motion designer. I'm gonna butcher her name now, but it's Imani.
That's so funny that's who I'm ever podcasting with tomorrow.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. She's super cool.
That's funny.
And I know I asked her how to say her name before. But but yeah, I worked on that project with her, and it was one of the biggest things I'd like ever worked on.
That's dope.
But that was the first real. It was the biggest learning experience for me as to how a big project would work. In terms of what like a label wants, the demands, the time scale, like storyboarding, everything. Because I was just used to doing someone would message me on Instagram and be like, yo, what's your prices? I want a cover art. And then from going to that to like a whole lot of like legal stuff and contracts and everything. And she really helped like kickstart kind of just having that professional knowledge, to how to approach something. Like the attack plan, like she was super organized and had everything kind of like down to a T. But yeah, no, that's cool that you're recording with her.
Yeah, that's fun. That's like a nice coincidence. I'll mention that too tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think that's so, yeah, like that. I hate to say like it's just as important, but knowing that stuff's almost as important as like how good you are at the actual thing that you're doing, whatever like the craft is, design, 3D, art, photography. Like you could be the best at that, but if you don't know how to navigate like these weird like legal conversations or business stuff, you're either gonna get screwed and not get paid enough, or like do something incorrectly, they're gonna be mad or whatever. Like, and they don't really teach you that shit in school or anything. And it's kind of interesting that that's so important. It's because like for me at least, I feel like when I was in school, they were under this impression that like, all right, once you graduate, you guys all just go out and like get a job at like a studio or an agency. But like they didn't prep anyone for like wanting to be a freelancer, you know? Yeah. And that's a whole different like a whole different thing, really.
Yeah, no, it was literally the exact same for me. I did 4 years in, actually I'm going to get the systems messed up, but like in Ireland we have primary school, then we have secondary school, and then you go to college, which is like the same as university, I'm going to say.
Right. I think your university is our college.
Okay.
Like college is like the higher up thing here you go to, you know?
Okay, yeah. So like I did a 4-year college course in multimedia. And yeah, like throughout the whole thing, they're just teaching us like all different skills, like photography, video editing, a whole lot of things. And then the last, like when you're finished, you're kind of like, okay, what now? I did not feel prepared to kind of start on my own, you know? Yeah. It's very much in this, like, you'll get a job, as you said, like in a studio or something, but nothing like freelance.
Or they want you to just go to like the next level, like a master's degree or whatever over here, you know? Yeah. And like when I was in school, like no shade to any of the people I went with, but we had like a group of people that kind of went through, you'd have the same people in your different courses, you know, as some of them you wouldn't know because it was like more general, but once it got more specific, you'd be with the same like core of like 30 kids maybe or whatever. And as we went on, like I started to realize there was only like 3 to 5 of us that were actually like doing work like outside or like trying to freelance or like trying to learn on our own. And those are the only people that ended up like doing anything. Everyone else like didn't know what was going on because all they did was like the coursework and graduated, like bare minimum. And it's like, if you do the bare minimum, you're going to get the bare minimum job, you know? That's just like exactly how it works. Yeah.
Like one of my like favorite lecturers in college, he kind of said to us, look, if I can't remember how he exactly worded it, but it's kind of like the input that you put into something will affect the output. So like the more you put towards something, like the more your kind of involvement and the more you believe in it, the kind of like you're definitely going to have a better output at the end, you know, because you can just scrape by and get your grades and that's it. But if you don't like fully believe in it, the kind of end result won't be as good as you kind of anticipate.
Yeah. And I always thought like this ain't the career to do that. Like if you just want to get the grades and get a job that pays well and like just go to like get like a business degree or whatever. Like if you don't care, like just get more money, you know, you're not going to make a lot of money as a designer if you don't care about it, you know? Yeah. Like I want to go back to, we were talking a little bit about the different styles and stuff that you've kind of worked in. I think I first discovered you when you were doing like the more collage stuff with like the paper clips and ripping and kind of this analog feel. And what inspired you to kind of transition more into that like analog sense of things when you first started it?
I think my kind of main reason for switching to a more kind of physical form of design was because when I started making cover art, I kind of started making cover art in the era when everyone was adding like vinyl textures and stuff to their images, you know. It's like just slap a vinyl texture on it at the end, and
that dusty ring.
Yeah. But I was trying to learn how to like make the rips look as authentic as possible. And then one day I was just like, I'm just going to try and make a physical collage. And I like literally 5 minutes ago before this, I've uploaded a clip to TikTok on how I make them.
Oh, really?
So yeah, and obviously over time, I kind of developed it better. But when I uploaded the first one, I remember like a few people are like, oh, this, like, what is this? It just looks kind of messy. But I like the look of it, so I just kept on making them. And I remember I did one, it was probably like a Tyler the Creator one, I think. And people loved it. And then from there, I just kind of fell in love with making the collages. I have a shoebox at home with like literally all of them. But yeah, no, I enjoy doing that style. Yeah.
I feel like I've been getting a lot more into analog, just not necessarily like the entire process, but somewhere within the workflow, I try to at least incorporate something, because like you said, like it gets repetitive and like obvious when everyone's recycling these same like everyone wants to make something look printed. I was like, why don't I just print it actually? And then like do it from there, you know, or whatever. And the one thing I was curious is, so you've worked with clients, I'm sure, that have requested something in that vein. Do you find it hard to work with clients when it's more physical? Because like doing that stuff's a lot harder to edit and like add revisions to and things, you know?
I think a really good example of that is a few years ago, I worked on a music video for an artist I've been following for years. She got in contact with me. She's Irish originally, but she's living in London now. Orla Gartland is her name. And I did a music video for her where I ripped up a load of like frames of her and made it look animated. And it took like, I'm going to say it took like nearly 2 to 3 weeks to like just get the whole thing down. And that was
it was like more like stop motion, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. And I'd never done something like that before. But it was helpful because she had given me notice. She'd give me like 2 or 3 months notice before the actual thing was due. So like I was able to kind of enjoy the process as well. But I have worked with people as well where it's like, oh, here are the images. We want your collage style using these images. And when I'm making a collage, I choose images based on what I think could work. I try to picture something together in my head. And then sometimes like a client would provide you with just a load of images that just won't work together. And you have to try and merge them all together. And then when you show them the image, they're like, oh, can we try something else? And you're kind of really back to the drawing board then. Like on Photoshop, you could delete a layer or whatever, but then when it's like physical, you can't just unstick that layer, you know. It's I think it's really like I don't know what's the term, like a labor of love, where you kind of like, if you enjoy doing it, it's the work is kind of halved. Like I really enjoy doing it. I just throw on an album and just see what happens, you know.
Yeah, I've had like clients, it wasn't as much an analog thing, but I was working with some kind of, I believe it was a poster design I was doing for like this tour, and I was like, all right, is this the copy for this, like whatever it was? I think it was either the dates or the like title of the tour, and they're like, yeah, that's what it's called. And so I was doing this like pretty complicated thing with the typography, and I was like, my point was asking them, because like this shit ain't gonna be like live text anymore by the time I'm done with it. I'm not just gonna be able to like change it to you know, from saying hello to like goodbye or whatever. Right? And then I do it, and I think it was like remembering or something, that was the word. And then they were like, oh, we're changing it to like, you know, like tomorrow or whatever. And I was like, all right, well, I just did like, they're like, can you just retype it out as like that? And I was like, oh yeah, that's not how it works, you know? Like, I could, and I'm just like, all right, it's going to take like another day or whatever. But it's just funny what people assume. Cause like, if it was able to just be typed out like that, wouldn't you just go and do that by yourself? Like, that'd be so much easier.
Yeah. Like what I've even started doing, if someone requests like a collage piece or one of the crayon pieces, I add like a big disclaimer just saying like, I do these like physically, I don't make them on Photoshop. If there is changes needed, just bear in mind that might take a small bit more time, you know.
Right. And I always you always charge like once they pass a certain, I usually only include like 1 or 2 revisions even when I am in Photoshop, you know, and after that you got to pay more, or just because if you give if you give someone unlimited changes to something, I kind of found that some people will like opt for those changes even if they're happy with what's going on, because they're just like, let's just see it, you know, like let's just see it. And I'm like, all right. And then you do it and they're like, oh yeah, you were right, it was good the first time. I know.
Oh man,
that's how it goes. But when you first started doing that, when did you start to get the attention of like some of the actual people that you were including? Because in the beginning it was essentially like, you know, fan art or whatever you want to call it, and like concept stuff. So who and when did it start like maybe getting the attention of some of the actual people you're using, like the different rappers and things?
So I think the first person to kind of like to really notice my work was Orla Gartland, because I was a big fan, and I included her in this big collage of Irish artists that I listened to. And then kind of from there, we've worked kind of through the years, which is cool. But I think like the biggest one that has noticed me was Lil Nas. When I posted
Crayon, right?
He noticed one where he had just brought out the Old Town Road version with Billy Ray Cyrus, and I did like a Photoshop of like this desert and just a big kind of picture of him in the background,
like this way, right? Like sideways.
And he shared it on his story on Instagram, and then
that's cool.
Followed me on Instagram and Twitter, and I was losing my shit, you know. Sorry, I don't know if I can curse on the pod.
Say whatever.
But like I just found it so surreal, because here was me sitting at home in my parents' house in my room, small room, and I had made this design, and then it's shared to just the masses. And it was kind of scary as well, because like you see all these like notifications pour in, and it's almost like a kind of an overload to the system. Getting DMs like, hey, that's super cool, and he follows you, can you ask him to follow me? And I just like had to put the phone I had to put the phone down for a while, because it was very overwhelming. But yeah, that was kind of like the start of it, really. And then from there, other artists have shared my work and stuff like that. And it's really cool just to, again, I use that kind of analogy of me being at home in my small room in Ireland. And then this person that I've like followed, listened to their music, that's like shared my work. It's like, it's cool.
Didn't he use it in the video too, right? Like the crayon one? Is that when you like, that's like is that when you guys actually work together, I guess?
Yeah.
Or whatever.
So I was like in bed one night, and like I was fast asleep, and then my phone was like buzzing a few times. It was like at 3:30 in the morning, and I see a message from it said Lil Nas X, and I was like, nah, someone's joking here. Someone's after changing their name. And I looked at the phone, like my vision was super blurry. He's like, yo, what's your number? I want to work with you. And I was like, shit. So I got back to him as soon as possible, and he put me in touch with his makeup artist. And basically, they really liked the artwork, the crayon artwork I did for, I think it was Call Me By Your Name, I think. And I basically did like a series of crayon drawings for the video, and they're kind of like littered throughout the background of the video. So yeah, it was super like cool and surreal, and like having when the songs come on the radio, and then one of my mates or my dad would be like, hey, that's your friend. It's weird, you know.
Yeah, that's funny.
But yeah, it's definitely cool.
I have a question because so I've kind of juggled with this idea of, as I get more established or as I grow as an artist, creating these things like on spec or like as a concept for these artists that you maybe can potentially like actually work with now. Like as you get bigger, do you feel that doing it like just for fun becomes like more strange in a way? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's kind of like half and half. So like,
right,
I'm kind of at the stage where I'm doing like a lot of commission work in the background, you know, and in turn I'm trying to like keep my social kind of stuff like tipping over. I post, like I have a diary of designs that I want to like just churn out, but I'm slowly getting through them, but it's funny because I did you know Drake's album Certified Lover Boy, you know the artwork with the emojis, so like I redrew that in like the crayon style, posted it on Instagram, and then the rapper IDK messaged me. Do you know IDK?
No, I don't.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. He messaged me. He's like, hey, I have like a set of freestyles coming up. Can I use this artwork? I was like, yeah, sure. And I got paid and everything for it. But then in turn, like he's given me work from that. So like he has more freestyles coming up and wants me to do more crayon artworks. So like that's kind of like an example of like I wasn't aiming for anything to come out of that. It was purely like the crayon Certified Lover Boy album cover was like purely like a meme format, you know, and from there it kind of turned into like work, which was like, I don't know, I found it weird that the crayon thing has like been my like biggest uptake in terms of work. Like I have a lot of people asking for that, and it's something I started as a joke has now become one of my that's income streams. You know, it's weird. I probably didn't answer your question right at all. Kind of waffled.
I think you kind of answered it in a side way, but I get like from that I kind of understand. Like my point, I guess, was that, so if this person, let's say I want to work with you, right?
Yeah.
Like I like your music or whatever, and I create this artwork for you on my Instagram, like for fun, for lack of a better word. And then you want to work with me, or like you want it almost feels like it'd be hard to like negotiate a price because they're just like, aren't you just doing this for free anyway or whatever? Like, do you know what I mean? Like it almost like, but then on the other hand, I'm the same way. Like I just put shit out and churn it out because I've had people approach me. Like I did this Black Note series that was all like concept, Blue Note style album art with like punk bands, and
nice. Yeah.
People hit me up about that. Like, can we do something like that for my band? And like, there was no like target for that, you know, that was all for fun. So I get both sides of it.
Yeah. It's, no, I get completely what you're talking about now. And I've had a few people, message me, and kind of some kind of like smaller level artists that I really like and love their music and stuff. And then they're like, hey, can we get like this style for our upcoming album? What are your rates and everything? And it's kind of tough negotiating like a price range for, like, I suppose it shouldn't be, but I find it particularly hard setting a price range for an artist that I really like, you know. One, for fear that if I shoot too high, that I'll just kind of like scare them off. You know, and that has happened in the past, but I think one thing I have learned is you should value your work. Because when I started out, I did not value my work. I was like really lowballing myself, and just kind of charging kind of like here and there kind of jobs, like, you know, like kind of mates rates and stuff. But as I went on, I kind of said, like, if I want to make this work somehow, I have to be charging more, especially for the hours I put into something like a collage piece or something like more video based. But yeah, that's one piece of advice that I'd give to anyone, is like, don't undersell yourself.
I realized like that, you know, that feeling you were saying where, you know, let's say it's something like really cool and you're like, oh, I really want to work with Lil Nas or whatever, and then you tell them the price, and let's say it doesn't work out, right? They don't say anything, but let's say that's too expensive or whatever they may think. That feeling sucks, but that feeling sucks less than getting into a project for like a low price and the project becoming like really hard and shitty. That feeling is way worse than that other feeling. So it's like, got to kind of balance it there.
Definitely. And you, like, I think that's the beauty of it. Like, you will have to sacrifice like something that you really wanted to do. But it might just turn out that around the corner, that other job that is willing to pay your price is there, you know. Because
you could be too busy for the good project because you're working on all these shitty projects.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do you like, I guess, how do you feel right now in terms of, you have the crayon stuff, the collage, the pixel art, this new style that you're kind of messing with? What do you think is like been your favorite to work with then?
I think for me, always the collage pieces are my favorite. Basically because when I'm making a piece like that, when I started, I don't know what it's going to look like in the end. Whereas with like the pixel art or other kind of pieces, I have like a set design in mind. Like with the collage pieces, I've had some like really bad ones that I've just scrapped, and they've been just kept in that shoebox with all the other collages. But I'm really proud of some of them as well, and I think that again is the beauty of doing like the physical pieces, because one, like no two pieces are the same, and I think as well you can kind of really get experimental. Like with one of the pieces, when I was starting off, I got really annoyed because I finished the collage and then I put the collage down on the table where I had left my coffee mug, and then the like stains of the coffee came through. And initially I was like, I hate this, but then I kind of started experimenting by adding like droplets of water onto the page, and it adds this like an almost like an extra layer to it, you know. I think as well, the crayon drawings as well, I kind of really enjoy doing them. It's something that just started as like a joke, and then has been probably my most successful like series of designs.
What made you want to do the crayon? Like why did you like, no, I like it, not in a bad way, but what gave you that idea to just do that, you know?
Again, I think it was like I wanted to try and make like an album cover look as like shitty as possible. So there's like a shop down the road in from where my family house is. I went down to that shop and bought, like, they weren't even Crayola crayons, they're just like really cheap crayons, and I drew the Astroworld cover and posted it, and like added a caption saying, "This, you won't believe how long this took me to do," and stuff like that. And like people really liked it, so I just kept doing it. And I think, as well, I find anyway, if I have something that kind of works, I just keep at it for a while. Then I stopped because I didn't want to get it too repetitive, you know. I wanted to switch it up again. But yeah, that's
have you done any like original, I guess, concepts in that crayon style?
In the crayon style, I've done like pieces for clients. I did one of Orla's artworks, and I started like a kind of like a mixed media thing where I like take elements of the collages, elements of crayons, and kind of mash them all together. But I definitely like to do some like original pieces.
I think when you started doing that, did you, like, you said it was received well, but did you have like any people that were like, what the fuck is this? Like, I followed this guy for this, and now he's like drawing like my little brother or whatever.
Yeah. No, I got a lot of hate, not hate, but a lot of kind of comments saying like, dude, what are you doing? Like, is this a joke and stuff? And like I'd reply saying it is a joke, because at the end of the day, it's like I do take what I do quite seriously. But when I post a crayon piece, like I put the caption saying like, this took me 4 weeks to do, you won't believe, all this kind of stuff. It's kind of like playing on the whole algorithm thing as well, you know, because like if you post a design that's kind of like, and like, I'm not saying the crayons are different or anything, but like it's kind of like strange, like more people are going to comment on that, and it kind of helps boost it up, you know. But yeah, I got a lot of slack saying that I like sold out by doing crayons and stuff. It's just like,
that's funny.
Yeah.
Also, one thing I've realized, like the past year, I've definitely gotten a lot more savvy to how social media works and have grown my pages and things. And I get questions from people like, how do you do this? How do you do that? Like, it's like a secret or whatever. And one of the things I always say is that like people get discouraged when like they like to blame everything on like something else, you know? The algorithm, like my design, so it's good, but like it's just because the algorithm or whatever. And I that may be true to an extent, but one thing I also, sometimes it's just bad, for second of all, and then third of all, the best art in the world and the best designs aren't the ones that perform the best on social media. My favorite designers aren't the ones that get shared in everyone's story. It's like the person that made a stupid poster that's like, I don't know, relatable or funny or like some bullshit. So like, you can't, that's why they say like, don't, like, it sounds corny or whatever, like don't worry about the likes or followers. Like, if you want to just create the best art and best design, you can't worry about that. And if you want to play the system of that, then do something that you have to like throw the algorithm or whatever a bone at some point. Like you can't just, you can not care and be an artist and do experimental shit and get likes or not get likes. And if you're fine with that, cool. But then you can't do that and be like, I'm an artist, fuck that. And then complain that you don't get like followers or whatever. Like if you really were this artist, then you wouldn't even care about that, you know?
Yeah. No,
so it's like, kind of like a weird thing.
It's, like even like years ago, I would have gotten, like I would have been so zoned in on the likes and everything, you know? But when Instagram like introduced the hidden likes, I found that really good.
Right.
Because like I'm just literally looking at a timeline of, like I follow mostly artists on Instagram, and I'm just looking at a timeline of art, you know. Like in the past, I would have looked at something and kind of said like, how does that not have more likes, you know?
Right.
But now I kind of just
or how does this have so many?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But now I kind of just look at it and I'm like, this is art by this person. And I'm like, that's cool, you know?
It takes out the bias too, you know? Like
exactly.
Sometimes
like I find, I see artists on Twitter, and that's one thing as well that I just want to mention as well, that like I turned 27 2 weeks ago, and like I'm seeing so many like talented people coming through on like Twitter and Instagram, and I see them like 18-year-olds, 21-year-olds and everything, and they're complaining and they're scared that this isn't going to work out for them and stuff. And I'm like, dude, like you're so young, you have so much time. And it's like,
it's frustrating.
Like I can see myself in, like I can, when I was that age, I wasn't as committed, or I wasn't, definitely not in a position that I am now. I was only learning then, you know, but these guys have like fully established portfolios and amazing stuff, you know, and you can only imagine the level they'll be at a few years down the line. And it's like, I
know, it's crazy.
It's interesting looking at it from that perspective, you know, like I can definitely tell that some of them are just going to go straight to the top, but it's kind of depressing too to see them say that, because you're just like,
if only you knew like how fucking shitty I was when I was 16 years old. Like you would just like, you would run circles around me. Like, I don't even know how these, like when I was in school and when I was in high school, especially, like no one even posted their work online. Like no one was like, had any, you know, influence or following. And like, we just all had to suck for like 6 years and like didn't do shit. And then it starts to compound, you know, it really starts to pick up once you start to really get into it. But I have the same exact experience with this. So I do a lot of like branding and logo design for my actual work that is not, you know, as much, like I don't post online as much because it's kind of, in a sense, more boring to just post like logos in the Instagram or whatever. But there's this kid I know that's like super talented, like at like kind of modernist, like branding and logo design. And he was like, oh, I can't get clients. Like, and I was like, how old are you? Like, how long have you been doing this? He's like, I'm 15. And I was like, Jesus Christ, like these are better than my design. So like, it's not about your skill. It's about just your establishment and like your, maybe your business skills or like your marketing, like focus on that and you'll be good, 'cause you're already a better designer than me. So like, don't even trip, you know? And I don't want people to, like, social media doesn't really matter. Like, it's sad to see that someone may not want to do something because of like social media. That's so whack. And it makes me sad, you know?
It's kind of scary though as well, you know, like what you're saying there, that like we live in a time where like we see the kind of like younger people coming through and they're discouraged that things aren't working out, but they're so young and something like that could put them off from actually going forward with it, you know, if they don't see it, because everything we do nowadays is so instant. We could like in 10 minutes we could have a post on Twitter, Instagram, have it all up there, you know, and you're getting likes. And if this person sees that, oh, this isn't getting any traction on Instagram, or this isn't getting traction on Twitter, they just take it down. And you're already doubting yourself then, you know. But yeah, that's the problem with social media. It's just so instant, and people can change in like a second. It's scary. Yeah,
the instant gratification, the younger the people are, like, I'm still in the younger generation in a relation to, you know, the people I talk to that are older, but I'm a 24. But these kids, like whatever, it's it's the one after mine, like I'm Gen Z, so whatever that is, like Fortnite generation is what I'll call them. And like everything is so fast, like, you know, it's just proven with what social medias are popular now. They can't watch something that's longer than 15 seconds, you know? And it's like people I know, like they weren't established in their design careers till they were like 30 years old. And it's like, you're 16, so wait 15 years and then you could complain about likes or some shit, you know? Just keep it moving and keep working. And I made a video about Instagram one time, and I talked about the likes thing, and for a while I hit all my likes, like just no matter what, even if they performed well, because I was like, then there's no pressure anymore, you know, you just put it and it doesn't matter. And then I kind of go back and forth on how I feel about it. But if that's going to discourage you from even, like you said, like starting or quitting, then just fucking hide it, or just, you know, go on. Even if you're not sharing your work, like just make shit and sit on it for a few days and then share it if you end up liking it. You don't have to. I think people forget that everything doesn't have to go online. You know, you could just make shit and then learn.
I think especially at like that age, like say 16, 17, 18, it's important as well, like to not live an online life, you know, like you're at that age where you're becoming an adult, like go and enjoy it, you know, because you're going to be sitting like here in whatever it is, 10 years or whatever, kind of saying like, yeah, cool, I enjoyed my experiences and now I'm ready to really like nail this down, you know. But yeah, it's social media.
That's why I feel bad for like, so with this whole COVID thing, like it sucked for everyone in all walks of life, from kids to old people to people losing their jobs, you know, and so on. But I feel really bad for kids that were in like middle school and high school and elementary. That's like really bad for their brain and development, I think. But middle school and high school specifically, like you can't, like those 2 years they lost of like human interaction with their friends and like drama, maybe bad things, maybe like good things, girlfriends, whatever's going on, like
just normal.
You can't ever put that won't like, you can do that later, but you won't ever be 16 in high school ever again, you know, or 15. Like that only happens once. And if anyone's that age listening, I'm sorry if this is like depressing or whatever, but I feel bad for you guys because that was the only time to do that. And that stuff, even though some of those parts of my life were shitty, that was very important to like who I am now. I feel like you may not mature the right way if you're not like around your peers like that and everything's online, you know?
Yeah. No, it's, like my cousin was in that position. He has missed like 2 years of school, you know, and he's like, crazy. Like at the start of the pandemic, he was this like small dude, and now like 2 years on or whatever, he's like had a growth spurt, super tall. And he's like completely changed. His voice is dropped and everything. It's weird, you know. And it's like, I'm super grateful for my years in school and everything.
Right.
They mightn't have been like what the kind of like dream idea of school is, but like it was development, you know. I kind of I learned what I like and what I don't like, and I just feel bad for those people who can't experience that, you know. It's a really strange time we're living in.
Right.
yeah, it's weird.
One thing I wanted to ask you, and to get off of this, I don't want to make anyone too much more sad about it, but with the crayon thing, you're in like the perfect position. I've seen you kind of, yell at them before or whatever to partner with like Crayola, and either do, I don't know, like some kind of advertising or brand partnership or whatever. Like, have you had any luck like getting in touch with them, or are they interested in anything like that, you think?
I haven't had any luck. I think the closest I've gotten was this guy who works in like a Crayola warehouse, like where they make the crayons, message me, and he's like, I can show this to my boss. It mightn't get anywhere, but I said, yeah, sure.
Yeah, because that'd be cool. I feel like that would, if anyone were to do that, it would make sense for what you're doing, for that to be like a seamless integration,
Yeah. Like, I have a few ideas that we could kind of like potentially do, but I think I've tried it like 5 times now. I don't think they're going to get onto me, but who knows?
You don't want to be like, it's embarrassing at some point, huh?
Yeah, exactly. I feel like if I post it again, I'm just going to get the comments like, come on, you've tried already.
They don't like, she don't like you, bro.
Yeah. Move on.
Yeah, that'd be cool though. I seen you do also wasn't the guy you work with does like the 3D of the crayons sometimes with the post,
Jordan.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I want to shout out Jordan because like Jordan has like supported me since like day one, and his work is like next level shit. And
yeah, it's JHGFX.
JHGFX,
right?
yeah. And like, cool. Yeah, he's supporting my work like for, I'd say, nearly like 4 or 5 years now. And we've worked on things together and chatted about stuff. But whatever it is, like the algorithm just hasn't hit him, because that man deserves like a stupid amount of followers with some of the stuff he produces.
That shit's irrelevant. Like the best
exactly.
shit. They don't get the credit sometimes.
And definitely by far one of my favorite artists. Like some of the concepts he sends me and stuff he's working on is just, I'm kind of like, how did you even think to make that?
Right.
But it just goes to show that like as you said, the best artists like don't necessarily have the hugest followings, like,
right.
Like I know Jordan's close to 10k I think, or something like that, but I was talking to him about like hitting followers and everything, but I can tell with him he believes in his work, and he's worked with some pretty fucking cool people as well, and it just kind of comes back to the whole idea of like followers and likes and all that kind of stuff. It's not everything.
Yeah, of course.
And like seeing, as we were talking about earlier, I don't want to talk about it much more, but like the younger people seeing that as everything is like, it's such a toxic thing. And I think it needs to be taught because like the curriculum
in school
is going to be like, we're living in like a highly technological age or whatever, so like I feel like something like that needs to be taught, because
they need like a social media
definitely,
like, but around like being a creative, like not just in general, because I feel like it's a different thing as someone that's putting their work out there. Like if you're just a person that uses it, like, and you don't care, like it's a different, like it doesn't matter to you because it's not like maybe getting you money, or it's not part of your business. You're just like, yeah, I got this like coffee or whatever, like you're just chilling like that. Those people can probably be fine. They don't need to take a class on it or whatever, but like someone that's like wants this to be part of their like art and like their design business, like there should be some kind of courses in college that are like social media, mental health, social media, like
absolutely,
I guess how to navigate it, like how to market, but like specific to creatives. I'm sure there's shit online for it, and I that's what I try to offer as well with some of my videos, but I think it should be more integrated into like the true like systems, of like education and stuff. Like one of my favorite designers ever, David Carson, like ultimate legend, like Ray Gun magazine. Like he did all this crazy shit, and he posts on Instagram, and like he's older now, like in his 50s, I think. And you know, some of his posts get like 500, 300 likes, and it's like, if that's that, then I know that shit's irrelevant, because like he's one of the best designers like to ever live. So it's kind of like, you know, it doesn't matter at all. One of the things I wanted to ask you is, I know you do a lot of like stuff around hip hop and things. Who would be like your dream artist to work for?
I have 3, if that's okay.
I feel like I could. Like, I'm gonna think in my head and see if I'm right.
You probably will get them. Tyler's one of them, 100%. I'd love to work with Tyler, just because his work is like, even music aside and everything, like what he's done with like the golf brand and some of the like the marketing campaigns. Like I know it's not just solely him, but I don't know. His
art direction's good.
Yeah, the art direction is just crazy. I feel like that's something I'd be super intimidated by, to like work with Tyler, just because the expectations would be like super high. I'd love to work with Kanye, obviously. Kanye has kind of been like an influence for me kind of the whole way through this whole design process. And I think Childish Gambino as well or Donald Glover.
Cool.
Basically because, without sounding like corny or cheesy or anything like that, like he's kind of made me realize that like you can kind of do anything you really put your mind to. Like that man has acted, done comedy, music, pretty much everything, like directed, acting, everything. And it's like, seeing that is like, he's obviously put a lot of time into his craft, and just seeing that kind of knows that like if I really focus my time and energy towards something, that I can do it regardless of what people say.
He's like a Renaissance man, you know?
Yeah, exactly. it's crazy. But yeah, they're the 3 if I had to choose.
Yeah, the Childish Gambino, that was a wild card, but I respect it, because I felt that way about Jamie Foxx. Like when I used to find out he just does so much shit, like comedy, singing, acting, like producing, I was like, damn, like, because you get into this, like, it's so hard to get good at one thing, that when you kind of get good at one thing, you get into this mindset that like, well, this is all I am allowed to do now, you know? Like I'm a designer, or I'm a photographer. You forget that like no one knew how to do anything at one point. So like you can just do whatever you want, and like people may not like it, you know, but that's one thing I respected about you with the crayon stuff specifically, is like, it worked out well, but like you had the mindset that if it didn't matter, you know, and I respect that. You like committed to it. You were like, you know, whatever, like it's a joke, or it's not a joke, or like if you don't like it, then, you know, kick rocks basically. So that's cool. I respect that. Let's see. I had the last thing that I kind of wanted to ask you was, so we're it's the 10th. This should be coming out in a week or two. So
cool.
What are your plans for the rest of the year? So we're still kind of in the beginning of 2022. Do you have any things already planned, or any goals, or anything you want to talk about like that?
That has put me on the spot. I have goals that I've wanted to achieve for like years. Have them like written down on a notebook. Small things like obviously work with like those people that I just mentioned. And it's really like a kind of a, like, it's probably not going to happen, but I have them written down, because I feel like if I have them written down, I can look back and be like, yeah, I kind of predicted that. But in terms of like the rest of this year, I really want to just become kind of more professional and organized in my process. Like when I tried to go freelance before, the way I approached it wasn't very professional. I kind of dove into it with the mindset that this has to work out, you know. I didn't know what was ahead of me in terms of like legal things and how to like negotiate prices and all that kind of stuff. So I'd like to really up my professional side of things. I'm planning to do some like digital marketing courses. There's one literally only about 20 minutes away from me that I can do at night.
That's cool.
And I think as well, I just want to keep experimenting. I'd like to really get into 3D art. I've like dipped my toes in that, but I just find it like with all this technical terminology, like I don't even know the technical terminology. I've tried it a few times and I just haven't sat down and fully committed to it. But I'm reading like a really good book at the moment. I don't know if you can see that, Atomic Habits.
Oh yeah, I have that book.
Really good book. And I'm kind of nearly finished that book now, and it's really kind of made me rethink the way that I'd approach things, you know, because I was like setting all these goals for myself, and I know once I reach that goal, I'll be kind of sitting there saying, okay, I reached this goal, and then it's just back to square one, you know. Whereas if I kind of put these like systems in play and like stick to them, I feel like that'll have a much more positive output, you know. I'm probably waffling on a small bit, but yeah, like I suppose the top 3 things I want to do is like get more professional in my kind of marketing and just professional side of things, experiment more, and I think the main thing, just enjoy the process, you know. I like years ago I would have like spent hours looking at a design, and then I'd post it, and then I'd instantly like take it down because I'm like, no, it's not right. So like I think I'm just at that stage now where I'd post something, lock my phone, and just, you know, walk away. If people like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. Right. You know. That's
the thing I always like to reiterate in my head is that done is better than perfect. You know. I think sometimes too people hide behind this idea of I'm a perfectionist, or my work is so complicated it takes me this long to make it, but they're either just scared of the responses they'll get, or they don't really maybe not like the concept in the first place, you know. But just like, no one's gonna know that you're a genius if you don't show anyone or whatever you think, you know. Like you gotta put your shit out there. They did this experiment as well. I'll kind of end this on this. They did this experiment where it was a class, 30 days, right? One side of the class, they had 30 days to make one pot, like a pottery, like a bowl or whatever, right? The other class had to make a bowl every day. The 30th day came, and the 30th bowl, the daily bowl, number 30, was way better than all the people's one that they had all month to make, because they had to they didn't get to practice every day, you know, along the way. So that's how I look at like using social media, you know, like just do it. You only get better by trying, you know.
That's exactly.
So everyone, you can check out Aaronfdesign on Instagram, and you want to see a little bit more, we're going to do the Q&A over on the Patreon, but that's it for now, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for coming on, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Peace out.